Welcome to Linux Saloon, the place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. We have a talk about a Linux project, distribution, desktop environment application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. Anything that's Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux, fitness, and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the Open SUSE project. And with me today, I've got a packed panel of people. I've got Ben, Dale, Eric, HipDad, Icarus Factor, Jindo, War Thunder, Zebedee Boss, Goofball, who's new tonight to be on the panel, and Mike Chilson. How is everybody?
Excellent.
Okie dokie.
Living the life.
All right.
Living the good. Better to live a life than to not live a life. If you'd be so kind as to hit that like button, maybe subscribe, or better yet, you can join the chat here in Discord and provide your voice, your input, and help me to talk less, please. You can also join our Discord and Telegram, keep the conversation rolling between shows, and also be sure to do that StrawPoll, cubiclink.com/polls. There should be a link right there in the chat. And yeah, would be kind of steer the conversation a bit here a little bit. So on the docket for today, it's an open mic night. We've got a community free pour with the Marklite project from Mike Chilson. And StrawPoll will be in there as well, a very interesting one. Also kind of inspired by Mike Chilson as well. But first, what are we doing in Linux and tech? And I got to say, like, before the show kind of started, HipDad was talking about some pretty hip things from the early days of tech for him. So he is, you could call him, he's kind of a pioneer in this sort of what we're doing here in Linux Saloon. It's guys like him, the pioneers, who basically took all the arrows. So thank you, HipDad. And while I just settled on this land, and so I appreciate you being here. And so you're saying before, how was it back in the 90s sometime, or when was this?
Well, my first foray into the internet and everything was like 91 when AOL came out, hot and heavy. That's when I actually started, but right around 92, 93, people found that they could stream audio, and that was right before the LimeWire debacle showed up and everything, where we just play music to people. And it's mostly like maybe 10 or 20 people. It wasn't thousands. I mean, there wasn't, nobody really knew their way around the internet and stuff. And we used RealPlayer, GStreamer, and we just sit and play music and, just talk about all kinds of stuff. And we did a lot of indie music later on in the day when the corporates were wanting to charge us a penny for every song that's copyrighted every time we played it. And so we started searching
I got a question
for
on
independent music.
What was the system you used to actually do the broadcasting, or however you did this? Because you had like a chat, or a few of you, like, right? Was it kind of like a chat, like a meeting type room, an online?
We used IRC chat, because at first it was just audio.
Okay.
There wasn't video. There wasn't video. We used IRC chat to communicate through, and then we'd have web page interfaces where it would broadcast the IRC chat onto the web page, and then we would use links to websites that were commingled with the it was fake radio. It was on that website where everybody clicked their listen live link and all that. And then later on, I was one of the ones that was bringing video to it. But the guy was paying $400 a month for the GStreamer server. You had to pay for the Real Media server in order to broadcast. And he paid for it out of his pocket every month.
Wow.
And back then, I had a 6-deck cassette deck. And I had all kinds of cassettes. I had like 300 to 400 cassettes laying around and everything. And I would stack them sometimes when we didn't have a DJ scheduled. and I just put it on random and just let it play. I go take a nap and just let it play music.
And was that an actual tape deck or an 8-track?
Tape deck, six cassettes in a row, a Pioneer tape deck. I love that thing. And it was also a multi-track recorder, which is really cool if you wanted to do subliminal messages.
How did you load it? Was it like a cartridge style, or was it a circular? Like, what was the mechanism?
You just slid them in. You just slid them into each section. It was almost like a jukebox kind of thing, except it wasn't a circular flip thing. It was just slide them in, slide them in, slide them in.
Yeah, neat. Okay.
I know years ago when I did terrestrial radio, there was the commercial carts. I don't. Did you see those? They were kind of like 8-track ish. I don't think they're the exact same dimensions. I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but they would. Would you have something like that so you could play carts of music or bits or whatever, or was it just regular cassettes?
It was MP3s, and it was MP3s mostly. I was probably one of the only ones that used regular audio cassettes, and then later on CDs and stuff. I just did it because it was convenient for me, and it was that's the medium I had as far as music. Now I did start converting the cassettes to digital media later on.
I never had that.
Yeah, I was putting 2 audio cards in my computer and looping them with a cable, so I could record like my desktop, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. That was when you tried to do the hardware thing. And the wonderful thing about Creative Labs, they had a thing called Audigy Labs where you could the stuff there that's everybody's having trouble doing nowadays simply with a piece of software. And now they're selling the hardware for it. You could take and convert your voice by pitch, tone, whatever, and you can make yourself sound like God, omnipotent God and stuff, and chipmunk, etc. And you can mess with the pitch and everything yourself back then with software. Now that was on Windows, but that's one of the things that confuses me, that they're still having trouble with this type of technology. I mean, like, there's no reason to.
It's kind of like Moby Dick. It's do you really want to actually get it right?
Yeah. Except we don't have a sharp harpoon. It doesn't. The hook doesn't barb in. It's all bent up and frayed, and it just pulls right out.
It's actually rusty and it broke.
Yeah, and and then the video came along, and that was originally started by a girl named Jenny Cam. She was in college and she was doing her term paper on social networking before it was even, there was no Facebook. It was just the MySpace, before Justin Timberlake bought it. And you would just take and you would create your web page and using Flash. And then they had a program called Webcam Studio, was done by a Canadian, real nice guy. Me and him worked together a lot, tweaking the program, and it was Java. It was a JavaScript program or Java program on for Linux, and he later on ported it to Windows too. But then he decided to focus on his family, and it just fell to the wayside. The code's still out there though. But yeah, it was fun. You could do all kinds of tricks with it, and it was just, you broadcast your desktop, and it was just such a seamless program. I missed that part of the learning process of trying out software, and and then we went from FTP-ing a static picture every 30 seconds to then later on we went to streaming services like Ustream, and then live stream, and then Justin TV, which is now Twitch.
So a quick question, if I may, HipDad. Was each new iteration that came along easier to manage, or did it just bring another whole host of problems that you had to resolve to get it working properly? Or was it sort of easier by that time because you'd already been doing it for 4 or 5 years and knew sort of the hiccups?
Well, I mean, it was easier using what you started out with, but then when they started coming up with new stuff, it wasn't quite so easy because you had to change the way you did things, and the software, especially with the Linux software, wouldn't change with the latest and greatest. And then you had the corporate fingers. That's the big thing that made it so free stream disappeared. I mean, it was nothing to have your own website and live feed to that website through an embedded code in your website. There was nothing to do that for yourself. You didn't have to have YouTube, but you didn't make any monetary gains. And then you had the people that were running those servers. Ustream finally went to corporate. I think they were bought by IBM, and now they're used for corporate broadcast, like financial meeting rooms where they're all sitting down with their graphs and all that stuff. So, I mean, once YouTube got a groundhold, then those types of services, the Ustream services for public, just fell to the wayside as far as popularity, as YouTube just took over.
Yeah, YouTube also didn't work on Linux initially.
No, same way with it didn't work. Netflix didn't work on it either. Yeah, it was only 3-4 years ago that Netflix didn't work.
You know, I forgot about that, but I remember, yeah, like a lot of things did not work. Well, no, YouTube I could get to work, but it would take some sleight of hand to get like the Flash player to work properly in those early days. And then
yeah, and a lot of it was a matter of code. I mean, you find the code from somebody, and then you can get it working.
Yeah, and then it would I think I even wrote a guide on that, getting Netflix working also in Linux. That was no, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway,
when Google bought YouTube, that's when they made it where it would work on Linux. I was happy that they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd forgotten how painful those days were. Yeah.
Oh well, and the fact that you could go to sleep with the bing in your head because you've been on the internet too much.
Yeah, you could actually talk. You could talk in modem after a while to your friends.
Probably
scream at each other.
Yeah. Well, my first foray into social, the social norm for the internet was through BBS. And yeah, making friends over in Asia and stuff. It was a strange time then.
And to be honest with you, the worst thing that I used to remember from way back when was you'd be in the middle of doing something, and then your mum or your dad would pick the phone up to make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, put the phone down.
Hey, my favorite piece of hardware to this day was when I bought a shotgun modem. And it was made by Diamond. And basically you had 2 modems in one card. And you would have to have 2 phone lines. And you jack the 2 phone lines in. And then you basically had ISDN. And I would love that. That enabled me to do the video broadcasting on RealPlayer. And then not soon after, I found out I could get ISDN through my phone company. And I got that. And it was more rock solid. I still don't know where that card disappeared to.
That's really neat. I hope you find that card and bring it to Linux Saloon for show and tell.
Yeah, I would love to.
That's awesome.
Oh, I've got one of my case fans. Here. This is one of my case fans from way back when.
Wow.
Was it that's like a jet boat that goes in the water?
Yeah. Oh, it's like
what it does, it went in a mainframe server.
Oh, I was gonna say it was like a mini back in the days of the computer minis from the 70s?
Oh yeah, I got that. I used to salvage computer stuff from hospitals with a friend of mine,
Okay.
and had that mainframe fan, and I had a big case, full case computer, and a bunch of SCSI drives in it and stuff. And I put that on the side of it. Man, it made a lot of noise, but I never did have wavering temperature whatsoever.
I believe it. Could you hear though? That'd be another question. Would you be able to actually hear things besides?
What?
That's fantastic.
Yeah. My hearing's shot. My left ear is completely gone. Well, not completely, but it's pretty close.
Well, I can't see it to verify, but ha 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 ha.
Dad jokes incoming.
That's right. We are a hip dad, so anyway, it's very cool. I was kind of curious. I want to hear a little more about how you did what we're doing, but technology 20, 30, 40 years ago, whatever. I guess maybe 30.
Yeah, you can also research Anna Cam. She was like the second cam girl, and she stayed true to it for a long time. She's trying to make a resurgence on Instagram right now, and because she's having fun with AI, making videos and stuff. She's loving it.
Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for that. It's a little like kind of remembering the days of old of our interweb world. So that was kind of neat.
I'm considering doing a regular broadcast on talking about just about everything. Sometimes I call myself Old Man Tangent because I could be talking about one thing and all of a sudden I'm off on something else.
This is a little bit like
War Thunder can attest to it, and Ben can attest to it.
Is this kind of more like a broadcast or like a podcast? Is that what you're thinking?
I haven't made up my mind. I think I'll just probably do just one original recorded broadcast and see what people want.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, neat. We'll make sure you share how that goes with with the rest of us.
I shall.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get on to the straw poll. Errors put this together. Inspired by Mike Chilson, who I don't know if it was a suggestion or what it was.
I didn't do it.
Well, we're gonna blame you
Whatever
anyway.
it was, I didn't do it.
I think you and Jinda are the conspirators in all of this. I think I just roped in Jinda for funsies. All right, so don't have any direct feedback that I saw, so I'm just going to go ahead and look at these results here. So, what are the common activities you do with your Linux computer? Select all that apply. So this is a multi-select, kind of a poll, and quite a lot of feedback on this. Quite a lot of votes on this one, I should say. So, tied for first was check email and video games. So I thought that's pretty neat. That video games, or as Adam would say, was it Vidya games? How do you say that, Adam? Oh, maybe his mic's not on. But anyway,
games.
Vidya games. Yeah, sometimes it's fun to play like PS2 games on modern hardware for reasons I don't know, but I like PS2. I think it's pretty rad. In third,
my first Odyssey.
Odyssey. Oh, your first
Motorola Odyssey. Console
Magnavox.
Yep.
Yeah.
Magnavox. You're right. I'm wrong.
That's right. Well, I was gonna.
Another piece of my history disappears in the ether and the cobwebs of my mind.
Well, the cobwebs are probably the funnest place.
Mm-hmm.
In third, because there's two down already, would be watch video streams or listen to podcasts. And then, or I guess watch video streams, podcasts. And then fourth is online shopping. Fifth is read news articles or blog posts. Sixth is online banking. 6 with 13%. And then image manipulation after that, tied with listen to music. So, and then we have social media. Oh, I'm sorry, social media also tied. And then printing, taking notes, listening to podcasts or audiobooks, video production at 3%. I didn't get all the percentages here, so I'm screwing this up. I'm not as good as Eris. What can I say? 3D printing is on there with 3%. Computer programming with 3%. Shopping lists, 3%. Scan documents at 3%. Audio production with 2%. CAD, 2%. Make writing compositions, 4%. Other got 4 as well. Draw got 1%. Read comics, 1%. Read books, magazines, 1%. Schoolwork and scientific research, all 1%. And then 0%, but with 1 vote, robotics. And then music generation was 0. So we have, I guess, no musicians did this poll. That's too bad. So, interesting. I guess that's seems like pretty spot on for checking email and doing video games. But that's, yeah, those are still the top 2. That seems pretty fair. Eric, when's the last time you played a video game?
A year and a half ago.
What was it?
Wow.
I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 and I played about an hour and I just was like, yeah, okay.
Just wasn't your thing?
It was just too scripted. I mean, the whole, like, I played and I felt like the whole thing was just like cutscene. I was like, am I going to get to play here someday? Or so I just got bored of it.
It does take
similar to Fallout 76.
Yeah, I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 does take an awful lot of playtime to get through the introduction. This is how you play the game. This is what you're going to see before you can then pick. Well, I want to go over there and do that mission, or I want to go over there and shoot up the town. So yeah, I gave up after about 8 hours, thinking, when am I ever going to get to pick my path? I mean, you could just go running off somewhere, but.
Well, you could, except that it was expecting you to do the mission, and it was like, okay, I get it. You're trying to lead me into the game, but I mean, it was just like, I don't know who these people are. I don't really care.
Yeah,
let me just play the game, and So, anyway,
I looked at it as a glorified GTA 5.
That's probably what I'm going to do. I keep watching Let's Plays of GTA 5, just doing stupid things. I had a cheat thing where you could turn off gravity and go do all this crazy stuff, and I had so much fun, countless hours of just walking around causing chaos, and it was the best video game ever made.
Does nobody else just try to drive their tank across town so they can park up at the local theater? I mean, it seems perfectly normal to me,
I mean, why are the police so upset about this?
Yeah, just because I accidentally ran over an entire street full of cars and people doesn't mean I did it intentionally,
Yeah. I mean, let's settle down here. No need for fisticuffs. So.
Yeah, I Minecraft is probably my biggest video game I'm playing right now. It's still popular with the kids. Years now. It's
you think
amazing.
That's why you play it though?
Yeah, I have no worlds of my own. I just like to play whatever they got going on.
Okay.
And to me, it's fun to. I don't do creative mode. To me, it's fun to have to grind and, do things. I think my favorite thing that I did, not this has anything to do with the discussion here, but is I created a tower that it was 7 by 6 and then connected with stairs. I'm sure ladders are more efficient, but I just like stairs more than ladders. And went as tall as I could make it until you reach the virtual ceiling, and as deep as you can go to the bedrock without you can't break through the bedrock. And it was, I don't know, it's probably my favorite achievement, as it were, which is not really an achievement on the game, just creating a tower top to bottom. I don't know, it was just fun. And then I think one of my kids made a bubbler elevator thing. I don't know if you've ever done that, and I don't even know how it works, but you go in one water stream, it shoots to the top, other one drops to the bottom, and you can breathe through that process. So anyway, just silly.
Yeah, well, it can be good fun. I've played it more as I've gotten older, because I was never into it as a kid, growing up in school and whatnot, even though To be honest, most of my original, just because of how things were at home, most of my original introduction to games was all the games that were being passed around at school on kids' thumb drives and stuff. As it was. So
Right.
that was my first experience to the worlds of Minecraft and Halo and I guess it was San Andreas back then, and FTL and a few other just really good solid old games. Feels weird to call them old now, but
Well, those things
I
happened
think
too in the 80s, but with Commodore 64 floppy drives, floppy disks, 5 1/4 floppies.
Mhm.
I actually went up back and looked up. I may have mentioned this. Some of the old Sega Master System games that I
Yes.
remember playing as a probably preteen, and yeah, and I really had fun just watching. And they're so simple compared to today's games. I mean, the graphics and it wasn't like Atari level, so but it's sort of gone. Those consoles, those first consoles were pretty capable of, pretty decent fidelity and like a interactive game and reasonable graphics and sound and stuff. Like there's one called, I think it's like just called Ninja, and you're just literally throwing stars at ninjas on the screen. And there was one called Road Rash, which was just like a really simple motorcycle racing game. And my best memory of that was setting up the console for my parents and their friends, that they were having a party, and I had just gotten it not long ago, and it was like a new thing to have like a video game console, and so I remember them just cackling, laughing at themselves playing this game and wrecking, and like, you hit a car and go flying, and they just thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and like them having so much fun with it just was fun to watch, because it's like the dorky adults playing your game and like how bad they were at it, and I'm just like sitting there rolling my eyes as like a 12-year-old.
I've forgotten the game that
So
we used to
if you
play.
remember Road Rash, you probably remember Sketching as well.
It doesn't sound familiar.
Hmm.
My
I've
favorite
forgotten
one was when my dad had me order a bunch of fishing poles for him, and I ordered them, hit enter, and they took the money out of his account, and he said, "Well, where are they? I thought this internet was fast. Where are they?" It's like, you asshole.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, and
What were you
also
saying, Zeb?
the online
say-
meds.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead,
on,
Zeb.
Chris. Oh, well, I was just going to say, I'm probably got the name wrong, but I'm sure it was like Sonic the Hedgehog, but he used to, and it might not have been Sonic, but we used to have to swim down under the world and miss the octopus to get into the cave and do all sorts of other things. But I don't know if it was Sonic or Sonic else, but it was definitely on a Sega. I'll have to look it up and remember it, because we used to play that for hours as a family. It was great fun.
Master System I didn't know anyone else besides me that had a Master System. Everyone had the Nintendo. And so that was like, it made me a little strange, because I had all these games that none of them had, and I didn't have any of their games. And then Genesis, the Sega Genesis was, I think, a lot more popular, because I think it might have come out before the Nintendo 64. So
Yeah,
I can't remember, but
just before the Super Nintendo, actually.
Super Nintendo, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Genesis won just by virtue of being newer, sooner, or out sooner, and a lot of people had Genesis, and there were some really good games on that system.
Yeah, Sonic was they did real good on their Sonic matching.
Yep.
Mario. I mean, it was perfect.
That was a fun game. It was just so fast, compared to other games.
I got blisters on my thumbs from playing it.
It was like a Twitch, like a Twitch game before Twitch games existed, right? I mean, it was just like super, super fast. You had to learn the levels where all the rings were, and, all those sounds are just still packed into my head. I'm listening to it in my head as I'm talking about it,
Oh, I still love the MIDI. I never had it growing up. The first console I think I had experience with growing up was a friend of my dad's had passed away at the time, and he had an Atari 7800. And that was my first experience in the early 2000s with gaming and whatnot. Until my brother came home with an original Xbox that he bought from a buddy of his. it was one of those that had red ringed very early on in life, and so
Oh, okay.
Microsoft had sent them a replacement, but they said, "Oh, just recycle the old console. Like there's no saving it." And again, I don't know. This kid was kind of insane, to be honest, but he managed to get a hold of like some soldering equipment at his father's work, and he reflowed the GPU on the Xbox, slapped it back together, and it booted right up and was happy
Wow.
to keep going. So he sold it to my brother for like
Wow.
$40, I think, at the time, which was probably a steal.
Nice.
My brother still has that Xbox. It is red ringing the last I knew again, but yeah, I mean it. We played that for years, and my father was angry about that for a number of years, and then he got double angry because my uncle got wind that we had an Xbox, and there was tons of games for the Xbox, even before like it expanded like way into the future. He got us James Bond 007 From Russia with Love, and that was the first game that I actually got to play on there. My parents were mad, of course, because it was a shooting game. It's like it's
Mhm.
James Bond, for crying out loud, you know. It's
Well, and that was during that like whole fervor over, video games being like terrible for kids and all that. So,
oh yeah,
did anybody ever play an Intellivision? They were pretty
Yeah,
rare. My
played-
friend had one.
I had 'em.
Played-
I have one.
I
still
have a
played it.
game.
Burger
Oh,
Time,
wow.
right?
Utopia
Burger
was the
Time
one
on
I
a
loved.
television. I love that game so much. It was like
I
Donkey
played-
Kong with.
Yep.
Yeah, I played ColecoVision, and
Yeah, I had
it
Click.
was. I loved it because of the Smurfs game, Gargamel's Castle or something like that. It was.
I remember that
wonderful
game. Yep.
And the old man memory kicked in. It was called Alex Kidd.
Oh yes, I know
Oh
that
yeah.
one.
Alex
Yep.
Kidd, and that was on the because that's what we had, the Sega Master
Probably.
System.
Okay. Nice.
Sega had Shadowrun as well. I think really nice.
Yeah. It was just fun because it was still kind of the Wild West. You know what I mean? There really wasn't like the console wars or anything. It was really just everybody, like I was saying, the Intellivision, Master System, like it's Atari. You just had these companies put out game systems, and the worst part was that the cartridges didn't. There was no interoperability, so you're kind of sucked into a single system, and then even the newer systems usually weren't backward compatible. I mean, some of them had the capability of being backward compatible, but then you didn't want to play those games because they were old compared to the nobody wanted to play retro gaming back then. Everybody wanted the newest, hottest stuff. I guess that's true today too, but there was
Yeah.
one game I still cannot remember. It was an RPG, and it was just all text based, like screen. There was a background and like characters, but it was really no motion or anything. It was just the text, and I cannot for the life of me remember it. But I played that game. It was the first RPG I ever played. I didn't do any like Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that, but I loved that game so much, and it kills me that I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure I'd be able to find it if I. No, it wasn't anything. It was just some. If you remember those games at that point in time, especially the Sega ones, like they were just no-name publishers with no-name titles. Like people would just, I guess they'd go and find
This is on the Master
anyone
System?
writing software. What was it?
Was this on the Master System?
Yeah.
Was it Phantasy Star?
No, it was very much like D&D. It was such a straight ripoff of D&D, like old, medieval villages and towns and stuff. And yeah, God, it's been such a long time ago. I mean, that was literally 40 years ago. So anyway.
There's a great documentary on a lot of the streaming channels called Console Wars, and it talks about how Sega took on Nintendo and won, ultimately. You should check it out. It's pretty interesting because it talks a lot about, post Atari 2600 game consoles.
I think it pushed Nintendo to be better by having someone like Sega.
I think so too.
And
I would say
that's
the
why.
Nintendo 64 would disagree with that assertion.
Yeah.
Eric,
Sega's
was it
in
called
transition
Heroes
very
of the
well.
Lance?
Heroes of what?
Heroes of the Lance. Was that dungeon game?
Maybe. I'll look it up. That's possible.
You kind of got me. Someone mentioned something about Atari, and I just remembered to check Atari again. They have these Atari 2600 and 700 plus consoles. Actually, they're the same thing, just a different case basically. But it plays the original games like you would. It's cartridge based. Remember the Atari Flashback that you couldn't add anything to it. Well, these will actually let you plug in cartridges and whatnot. And my 7800 died some time ago, and I kind of think maybe I should just get a more modern one that I can just plug into a modern TV. Or is that kind of like halfway cheating? What do you think? Atari.com.
I mean,
The Linux way is to use what's
cheating.
available.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cheating. Like, I never had an SNES growing up, but I kind of wanted to play some of the games, and I ended up buying used SNES Classic, and I don't think that's a bad way to experience some of the stuff from back then, is having a more modern take. I mean, yeah, I know you can buy a Pi and emulate it, but I also respect people that just don't want to do that or go through all the effort to try and figure out all the quirks and whatnot.
Yeah, but with a
Okay.
Raspberry Pi, I'm pretty sure that you can just download now whole systems of 5,000 games from the past, and you just burn them onto a Raspberry Pi and they work. Because I remember Ryan and I had a challenge one time, and I cheated and I got my really techie friend to help me, and I think he downloaded me a copy that had like 7,000 old games. And Ryan only had 3,500, 4,000, so I was quite pleased with that. But yeah, there are so many ways that you can play those old games. But I get the nostalgia of wanting to have that old equipment in front of you, trying to do it. Because I've still got an original PS1 portable with the little 4.5-inch black and white LCD, and playing Gran Turismo 1 on that thing. Well, it would be Ryan's ultimate game for me to review, because it's like driving a car that's on breeze blocks. The graphics were shockingly bad, but you spent hours and hours doing it.
Oh, I was wanting to bring up a reference. The Neo Geo, Blender, the Blender 3D software was made for that. It wouldn't have been no Blender 3D without Neo Geo.
Hey, Nate, if I'm not mistaken, don't those Plus consoles, they come with a core set of games already, right?
They come with a cartridge that has you have to flip dip switches on the cartridge. It's very much an old, a modernized old system, I guess you could say.
Right.
I don't know how else to put it. It's the old, because you can plug in the old cartridges and then joysticks and things like that with it. So yeah, there's nothing. This one has nothing built in. The flashback had stuff built in, but this one does not.
Okay.
And that has nothing to do with our open mic night. I'm sorry, our straw poll. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Oh my goodness.
What's that?
I'm looking through a list of games, and I'm still at the beginning. Came across Altered Beast. Oh, I love that game so much. It was dumb, and it really was like limited, but it was fun. The boss that rips his head off and throws them at you.
Yeah.
The boss rips his own
That's
head
what
off?
I got this.
So it's like this devil-looking guy, and he just keeps ripping his head off over and over and throwing it at you. Very, very funny.
Maybe
Yeah, even though I have a lot of the old consoles, that's actually what I bought this Atari VCS for, was to do a lot of my old school emulation and whatnot. Because like, if you just use the built-in operating system, it's really not, unless you grew up with like some of the original Atari games, it's not really that enticing. But this is just a little APU, and it's shockingly powerful in here for what it is. So,
oh yeah,
that's what I use mine for anyway.
I have one hooked up to this TV behind me, and that's my home theater PC essentially. That's what I use. I got not too many games on there, but I do. Mostly it's YouTube and other video streaming services, and I got a PS4 64 controller tied in with it, and then I just navigate with that.
I managed to figure out with Bazite that you could remap controls. So I have the actual Atari controller for this thing.
Oh, nice.
And by default over Bluetooth, this is all messed up in terms of like the sticks and whatnot. But Steam input is amazing. And so what I did is I bound it over Bluetooth, and then in the Bazite or in Steam, I rebound all the controls to be correct. So I could still use this over Bluetooth if I want to.
So
it has something to do with the firmware that Atari put on this controller. Doesn't work quite right with normal Bluetooth.
So I did have mine in here, but my oldest likes that controller better, so he actually has it paired with his computer. So he took my controller, and I just let him. Whatever. It's like he's gonna have more fun with it than I will.
Yeah, it's not the best control in the world. I wouldn't be too sad about it. I have my PS5 controller for the living room PC, and then this one I have an 8-bit dough that replaced my Xbox controller when it died.
Mm-hmm.
This thing's pretty nice. My hands are a little big for it, but it is a fairly nice controller.
You got big paws, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately, big sausage fingers.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to get in and work with equipment, it's a real pain. Usually I end up having to call my wife in.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's how I cut the side of my finger off at one point. I found out that they didn't deburr the inside of the case I have for my Windows 98 PC, and I reached in to pull the floppy drive through, and then it pretty much sliced me halfway up the finger.
Oh, I thought maybe you were cheese grating yourself on the case.
I basically did. Now, what's funny is I've cut myself a second time since then working on that same case, and it's actually made because it healed and you can tell where the cut is. But now I've cut myself a second time and it looks better now than it did the first time. So now I can't open the side of the case again.
Gotta get a file and kind of deburr it, I suppose. Yeah, we got a packed house in here. Thank you all for being here. All right, I guess we can just go ahead and move on to the open mic night first topic here. This is actually submitted through email through Mr. Goofball himself. So this is actually about desktop security. So I'm just going to take a little snippet from his email. He said some other nice things. I'm not going to repeat them because no one needs to say nice things about me. So given the Linux Saloon crowd here, our penchant for wanting absolute control over the systems, I'm curious to know where and how they bump up against the desktop security. Do you scoff at the notion of security? Does it live rent-free in your head? Or do you land somewhere in between? And I guess on that note, what extra steps do you take, or if any, do you take to like lock your system down, your desktop down, or whatever? Probably have maybe separate root passwords or maybe whatever. I don't know. What does anybody here like run Clam AV for email or any other malware protection schemes on the desktop?
A nice try FBI.
I run absolutely nothing.
Okay.
And if anybody went to Self in 2019, I'm still using the same 4-digit password. So if you went there and you can remember it,
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's the password I use. No. It was my old. It was the last 4 digits of the old telephone number. When in the UK, we used to have like your local exchange number. For us, it was Townley, which was 693, and then you had 4 digits afterwards to denote your own number. And I just don't run anything and never have. Whether I've been lucky and never been hacked or nobody's ever bothered to attempt. And unless you are running really complex, complicated servers and all the techie stuff like you guys do, if you're just running a home PC with a router, do you really need to bother? Tell me why I'm wrong, guys.
I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. I don't run anything. I let my router be my firewall, and I don't click on something I know is sus.
Yeah.
So as far as
like
Take a different approach since I use my computer for work. So I have a pfSense firewall, and of course, a couple of Linux machines I have are running a local firewall and are locked down pretty tight. And I run virus scanning, clam virus scanning. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So like stuff that I feel like people aren't really going to walk away with, like my desktop here, I would pretty much notice. I don't worry about it as much. I have select machines that I do take outside of the house. Those, I make sure I've got the firewall set up. I've got typical ports blocked that I don't need to have open. I've got one that I travel with that I do run ClamAV on, just in case something happens. You're on a public Wi-Fi that gets lit up or something. But other than that, like I said, I do run complex passwords on my servers or whatnot, but just some of my local stuff here, especially just clunkers that usually I will mess around with and then pull the hard drive out and recycle it. I'm not really that worried about it. Sometimes if they stole it from me, it would probably save me effort, to be honest. So I don't work too hard to keep them out.
So mitigation I've taken is, set up some good rules with your router. Obviously, have your own equipment. Don't rely on the rentals from the ISP because you don't really control that stuff very much. Others is I wouldn't really fully disclose everything you do either. Is my another suggestion. Let's just put it to this: with mitigations, I've taken time and set up some things to help be more secure, but it helps not to tell people what you have. If not everybody's your friend, and if you're putting it on the YouTube, it's probably not good.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I saw a very interesting YouTube video where it seems to be a big boast amongst Linux Unix servers to say how many days uptime you've got and whether you've got 1100 or 1200 or 2500. And the guy made the point that, okay, so you've just now told everybody you've got 2500 days uptime. So they know that your server's at least 44 patches behind and easier to hack into. So you've got a brilliant point to make there, Arch Penguin. And don't get me wrong, I am in total awe of people like Nate and a friend of mine, Sudo Reboot, who just blow me away with the complexity of the networks that they've got at home, where everything is subcoded out. Every member of the family's got their own little thing. Nothing's interconnected. Your CCTV's on one route, his PC for this is on another route, his mining rig is on another route. And I'm like, whoa, you lost me when you said you put pfSense on there. It's like just astonishing the knowledge some people have.
A little network segmentation definitely goes a long way.
I say over and over again, the biggest vulnerability sits between the keyboard and the seat. Simple as that.
I do run a web server, so I do have a firewall to block HTML attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, so my paranoia is as such that I have no open ports on my firewall, so I'm a little bit harder to exploit. But I think Joe makes a good point when the biggest risk is essentially you doing something to give up your credentials. That's the easiest way really to hack somebody at this point. And even like one way that's actually really can be very frightening is if you use, like, let's say you're heavy in the Google ecosystem, you use it for like your what is that when you authorize to other services with your Google account, whatever that process is called. It's like OAuth.
Yeah, you're allowing access to log into some other. You're sharing with basically.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Credential.
Instead of creating your own individual account or set up password and log in and all that, you're just using your Google credentials, which in that case you're sharing access. And there are things, even if you're going to do that within Google, that you should go in and tweak, which I guarantee you most people don't do. You're speaking of, but I do see that there's a lot of Google now too, where with AI scraping your emails and all your information, and there's settings you can turn off that are on by default now with some of the most recent updates that have happened to Google. So I suggest anybody go into their settings and go through them one by one. And if you're not sure, then just go to YouTube University and look up how to, lock it down a little bit better and keep yourself a little more private on it, or just stop using Gmail or Google services. That's another thing too. But
I was terrible for doing that back in the day because it was so much easier. Do you want to create a password or just log in? I was like, yeah, Zebedee Boss, yeah, Zebedee Boss, yeah, Zebedee Boss. And I've probably got 30, 40, maybe 50 things out there, but I do regularly go through my Google account and go, right, disconnect, because I haven't used them in like 10 years, disconnect. But it's frightening how much, as you say, information is out there on your servers. I mean, I was checking something the other day and it was still showing me searches that I was doing in 2014, 2015. And I'm like, why are you storing this information about me? It's just incredible.
Yeah. The other thing that, and I had been guilty of it myself, and I finally just cleared it all out because of the hassle of logging in every time. Is a lot of times people go, oh, do you, or the web browser will say, oh, do you want to save this password? Do you want to save this? So you just click and it opens up. That's where I'm starting to, work with like KeePass XC. That's one of the ones I'm trying to learn a little bit now and use something like that, use a password manager. And I really want to get my wife on that. But this fast click to open up and have, how much trust do you put in your passwords being saved within the browsers themselves? That's risky.
Yeah, I use Bitwarden and have done now for about 9 years, and it's okay. We know it's been broken. There's virtually nothing out there that hasn't been broken at one time or another. But as long as you've got a good master password that makes it really, really hard for people to get in, it is so convenient just to be able to go to a website and click on the Bitwarden thing, and it just fills it in for you.
Yeah, I love Bitwarden.
Don't have automatic fill going in there. Make sure you have to manually click to fill it, because if you have automatically fill it in and you get hit by a spoof website, so you've just signed into this site that you didn't want anybody else to know, but it wasn't that site, it was a spoof website that's just tricked you because of malware or something. If you have the autofill routine on, you just logged in and you didn't even realize it was a trick website. So I always have mine. I have to manually authorize it to click it to put in the password and that.
It shouldn't actually automatically fill in it, because if it's slightly off, like if the URL is off, it shouldn't automatically fill anyway. It shouldn't. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the automatic fill is probably more risky, especially. But I don't know.
But somehow, Nate, they're starting to actually spoof some of these sites, and I actually saw in the past 2-3 months where there was an alert that came out from the medical systems. We have a system that they call them My Charts or whatever you call them to be able to lock into your medical service, and they're actually somehow spoofing that stuff to where it isn't necessarily a variant somehow, and I don't know how that's being done, but it's actually. Even the URLs look legit. There's not a character off. I don't know what they're doing, but they're spoofing them somehow to where they're it's working. So who knows?
I got one more tidbit. So, no Internet of Things. IoT is not your friend. I'm just saying, if you allocate a specific separate network, to the stuff that you buy. Obviously, if you create it yourself, that's different. You can, make sure there's some kind of, what you did, right? That's yours. Right. You did. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, if you just buy stuff and put it on your network, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. You need to not do that. Your toaster doesn't need Wi-Fi. No.
Your crockpot. What about the crockpot? Don't do it. Your crockpot needs Wi-Fi. Absolutely. No, you got to have Wi-Fi.
No, your toilet needs Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's right.
Now, here I'll make an exception. Okay, repurposed phone with Bluetooth for a meat thermometer, right? It's not on the network. It's using Bluetooth just to that. What else are you doing on it? Nothing. That is the way you would use something like that, in my opinion, right?
Right.
Don't put it on your network.
So to answer some more of those questions from the what are things you do for security, the one and only Sean says full disk encryption, Proton Mail, KeyPass XC for passwords. So those are some things too. I do think I use a password manager, but sometimes I wonder, is that kind of a honeypot, as it were? Do you think there's a chance that you're creating a space that can a place where all of your information is, that if compromised, then you're in big trouble, Mister?
100%. And that's the danger of using it. Like I said, Bitwarden has already been proven to have been hacked. But it's the convenience of it. And the older you get, the more convenient it is to do it. And it didn't always used to be like this, because I remember back in the day when I was first on Windows, I always used to tell people as well, don't use the same thing to do all the same jobs, yeah? A layered defense is better than an all singing, all dancing, Let's get McAfee's or AOL's all in one antivirus, firewall, and all the rest of it in one go. They've only got to crack that, and they've got everything. So if you put something to do this, something to do that, something to do that, and something to do that, then you're not opening yourself up. So you're right, Nate. A password manager is an easy, well, I won't say it's an easy pot to crack, but yeah, it holds all of the information about you. But then what are you going to do? Use four different password managers? Where does it end?
That's why I decided to look at KeyPass XC too, which was mentioned in there, because to me, I wanted to have that on my system. I didn't want to have it out in the cloud somewhere or whatever. And, and the other thing is, creating a very, very strong, a really strong, but not a Michael Tunnell strong, like 100 characters, but a strong password, that's, you basically would have to, keep somewhere access to you that it's because most of them aren't going to be remembered if they're as strong as they should be. And let's face it, nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but if you take the measures to do your very best, and it depends on how much what you do and don't trust. So,
just so you know, Joe, you can host Bitwarden yourself as well.
Yeah, I do realize that. Yeah.
I think you guys are right about that. You have to kind of do a risk assessment of your own situation, And I know most people who just use computer as a tool will not do this, but the people who are thoughtful about it, like this group and the people listening or watching, first of all, I think most people, like in this group of people in the Linux community, are a little more thoughtful about, not going crazy, clicking on things in emails and so forth like that. Like Joe said, that's the that's the easiest route to getting hacked right there. But you have to kind of look at things and say, yeah, Bitwarden's been hacked before, but you know what? So has everybody else. And just kind of pick one that you like and you enjoy the interface. And I don't know. I think sometimes for home computing, I think sometimes we go a little overboard. But yeah, there is a danger, but I think most of the danger is the person behind the keyboard.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
There was a discussion today. Zeb and I happened to wind up in the same stream from somebody over in the UK. I really like the channel, But when the discussion comes up about Linux, it's very interesting, the oppositions to both sides of it. And what I don't care for is when you know somebody is not versed in Linux, okay, the mention was made that the last time he used it was in 2007. Okay, so how could you sit there and make comments or statements that Linux is not as secure, it's open source, it's not, you got all kinds of millions of dollars behind it to fix things right away, and Microsoft puts out patches immediately. Well, I know there were cases where Microsoft had 3 months that they hadn't patched stuff. And, Linux isn't perfect either. Everybody, there's shortcomings, but the truth of the matter is when, like with the, when you had the, oh God, what were they? The hardware vulnerabilities that were out there for over 20 years or whatever, they got patches out right away on this stuff. And usually when I see a vulnerability pop out, it's for me, at least, it seems like 12, 24 hours maybe or something, and there's a patch out, on here. So I guess, there's pros and cons to every operating system. The one thing that I did mention in there today was I'm frustrated that Linux is always being compared to Windows. Like Mac doesn't exist, and Mac is actually probably the closest to it because of the file system. But the point is they made the statement today too on there that, why isn't it like Windows, and why doesn't it look like Windows, and why doesn't it run it? Because it's not Windows. You know what I mean? And I don't get this mentality. And when I sit there and tell somebody you need a good year to really, and you want to be dedicated and focused because you really want to learn it, that's how you get on. I hate these 30-day challenges because it's not a fair chance of learning how to run a distro. I mean, I don't remember how many distros, okay, aside from when we were on Biddle back in the day with doing the test distros, I don't know how many distros that I hopped to until I finally settled on one that I thought I liked for a while, and then all of a sudden something would glitch, and usually it was because of something I did. It wasn't necessarily the distro, or you wanted to see something different, and then you settle. And as you get out there longer and longer, you tend to stay on a distro longer and longer. The last few distros I've been on have been an average of 2.5, 3 years. And, I'd like to stay on this one indefinitely, and I hope it does. Right after I upgraded from 42 to 43 in Fedora, I mentioned that I think at one of the last shows that they put out an update. It was fine. And the next big update they put out, something broke. But within 12 hours or less, they probably had it fixed. I stayed off the computer for a day because I knew that, even though I went down a rabbit hole, I knew in my heart of hearts there was something with a patch that went bad. And when I saw all the threads of other people doing it, that tells you in itself. And it was fixed immediately, So I guess the point is I almost get a sense that, I don't want to say it's a fear, but this put down, Linux is a very small user base, just like Zeb had mentioned earlier. It is, but it's growing gradually, and time's going to tell on how far it goes. If there's a YouTube video, I'm sorry if I'm talking so long, but there's a YouTube video out there. It was an interview of Linus Torvalds in the early days, and he had said he had hoped, and I think I may have mentioned this last week too, he had hoped that it would have been on desktops. But if it's not put out there in the masses for the markets, wasn't going to get the exposure. Well, now things are changing because things are happening with Windows or Microsoft's business model. Let's put it that way. And their business model is what controls the OS and the things they're doing and some of the stuff that are upsetting people. The other thing that's been out there, and I've been trying to find out if it's valid or not. I've seen pros and cons, but right now I've been seeing some legit sources that are saying that Lenovo, Asus, and some of the big name manufacturers, Dell, are starting to push out laptops with Ubuntu as the primary operating system because they're losing money between the
AI slop. Sorry, Joe. Look again. There's only one channel touting that, and it's the same channel that touted that Lenovo was going over. And immediately I read it, I went straight onto the Lenovo UK website. They had not one Linux desktop. Yeah, I went to the American side. They had not one Linux
Right. And I did
operating
the
system.
same thing.
And I've just looked at Asus, and yet only last year they issued a statement saying that Windows 11 is the best time for you to jump on and stay with Windows. So it's AI slop, and it's so aggravating.
Well, I'm not talking about the channel itself. I looked at articles. I looked at so I'm kind of reading between the lines right now, and that's what I'm saying. It may not be actually happening now, but one of the things I did notice, if you go if you type in Linux laptops as an example, and you see what they have for the choices, and you click on it, it's still going to show Windows as an initial laptop. So that part is not factual. But Ubuntu is listed right there at less of cost or whatever, and I'm seeing it on more and more and more. When you look through the individual devices, that if you do a search for Linux, you're going to see more of their systems are offering it than what they did before. That much I will say. I do say that part is factual. But as far as rolling it out with this stuff, I don't know. Someday that might be the case, but I don't know that it's happened yet. And you're right; it is. I don't pay attention to the YouTube channels. I look at the articles from
but even the articles, Joe, are written by the same AI slop. Sorry, mate. It's just they're only doing it for the clicks and the views and all the rest of it. That they can make out of it.
Yeah.
But
right, but that's why you look at the websites themselves, like you just said. And that's what I did the exact same thing you did. I went in there, and the one thing that I noticed that was consistent was what I just said, is that I see more of their systems are offering it than what they did before, if anything else.
I bought a workstation from them at the first of the year. And when I went to configure it, it asked which operating system I wanted. It didn't assume that I wanted Windows. It asked if I wanted Windows or if I wanted Ubuntu.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's their interpretation of what they're saying. I mean, I don't know, but
yeah.
To go back to something you said, Joe, about like comparing Windows and Mac, or Windows and Linux, but never Mac. The main reason for that is Mac people don't care. They don't care if you run Windows or Linux. They're just doing their own thing.
It's like Ford
That's
and
why
Chevy.
no one ever compares it to Mac, and that's why Mac people don't compare their stuff to them.
Yep.
They just don't care. Like, it's not even a thing it's not even on their radar. They're like, I wanted a Mac. I didn't want anything else.
But just to harken back to that security question that Nate's viewer had, I'm guessing that, just to bring a bit of light comedy into it, this is my ultimate defense in my home for people not getting to my computer.
That's beautiful.
And they've got to get past this first. And this was something that my nephew brought home from the States about, 25, 30 years ago now. And it's always been kept in my house, but it's just completely gone now. I think it says it's a Louisville Slugger or something, but yeah, they got to get past that if they want to get to my computer.
With a baseball bat.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to give one little quick. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your sentence. No, Zeb.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to say, hold on a second. I actually live in the town where that bat was created.
Oh, Louisville.
So lucky.
Well, now you just doxed yourself. Way to go. So, I want to give one quick small correction. So, Bitwarden has not actually been hacked. There was an ETH Zurich published a paper demonstrating a theoretical hacks on several password managers, including Bitwarden. So it was a theoretical hack, not an actual hack. So these things are possible, but it's in theory, not in practice. So there's
it's
that.
just my memory playing bad with me then, because I thought I read it had been, but no, I'll stand corrected, mate. Yeah.
Because there was a lot of articles that were written sensationally as such that it had been hacked, and so it's very easy to find those articles because they want to get the clicks, and so the headline says one thing, the body says another. This is a very common practice in seemingly journalism today, which is irritating. But anyway, it's all about the clicks. So Chris is correcting somebody. Louisville, not Louisville. Anyway.
Actually, it's Louisville if you live there. Fight me.
Right.
Eric is actually right about that.
I know, like Knoxville to me.
I've been there. I said The first time I went there, I said like Louisville or something, and they all looked at me like,
They looked
"What
at
did
you
you
like,
say?"
what?
Yeah, they were pissed off
Excuse me,
about it.
Mr. Americans, you can't possibly question the pronunciation of an Englishman. It's a Louisville
Oh.
slugger. End of.
Oh,
It's aluminum,
Zeb,
not aluminium.
Zeb.
Well, and New
I
Orleans
knew
is
that'd get you all
Nolans.
going.
It's Nawlins.
Hmm.
You have to pronounce
All
it
I
right.
need to do is add a few R's to the end of my words for seemingly no reason, and then I'll be able to speak like a Brit.
Oh God.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
Nah.
Anyway, the other thing too is Dell used to have that XP. They had a program where they did sell the Linux on their XPS machines. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I remember that was a big deal like 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Dell did do that.
Well,
I think
that
you can.
reminds me, Nate, of that time that News Corporation made a video of that girl got upset with Linux. What the heck is this?
Yeah,
Well, I
that
don't
was
know that one.
that was
Years ago, when she bought the
27
lap,
news
she was a
here in
college
Madison.
student. She
Yeah.
bought a laptop, and she didn't realize she was buying an Ubuntu laptop. And yeah, that was many years ago. Yeah.
That was way
Yeah.
out of whack, Joe. I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
girl was
Well,
so confused. She didn't know what the heck she was doing.
Well, I
I
mean,
think
it's
Dell was probably
one.
one of the first companies to
I
offer
mean, what
Linux.
was she
if I'm
gonna
not
do? Her
mistaken.
internet
Remote
CD didn't
binding.
work. How was she supposed to get
That's
through the
right.
internet? Her Verizon CD didn't work.
Right.
Their Verizon just didn't work.
So, it's an emergency. You got to call the local news.
I must have missed that one.
You sure
It's okay.
did. It's actually.
So be happy you did. Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep that
It's
in the
actually. Yeah, I would watch that when you get a second, Nate. It is freaking hilarious.
So I went back and was looking up that game while we were talking, and I think it's called Might and Magic, and it was on the Genesis.
Oh,
not
yeah.
on the Master System. Yeah, Heroes of Might and Magic, and that was the second one. The
The best one.
yeah, or just Might and Magic 2: Gates to Another World. Yeah, I played that game. I mean, because you could save your characters and save your progress, and And I remember one time it got wiped somehow, and I was just devastated because I had spent like months playing these characters.
Yeah, you can still get it on Steam, but you can't get it to work.
I played that game for a long time. It was one of the first RPGs I played.
Cool. Okay, then I'm not the only one.
No, I loved that game.
So, I want to ask. I don't know if he has a mic this good, but Goofball, do you feel like we kind of covered this? Like, what are your thoughts on what you've heard today? If you want to chime in, no pressure.
I don't know.
Or you can use the chat. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I quite literally took notes. I got a sticky pad out and I took notes.
Good man.
Fantastic. Sticky notes can also not be hacked, so keep that in mind too. Once you get past the Louisville Slugger, I suppose.
Well, and also, if you stick them on your other monitor and your webcam can see them, then yes, they will be hacked.
Oh. Good call.
Hey, Zeb, I think you should make your profile picture holding that Louisville Slugger.
There was enough of me holding a similar thing back on the old episodes of Destination Linux, where I actually had a London police training baton
Oh, nice.
for when they were doing and it was it was probably about 14 inches in length, and it was a tube of, and I don't know what the material was, but it was rock solid, and like it had a nice little leather handle and a strap you could put around your wrist. And I'm thinking, well, if I've wrapped that around my wrist, someone's just going to grab it and then break my arm. So no, there's plenty of thumbnails if you want a thumbnail of me holding a baton.
I wish I had my PR-24 sitting in here. When I was on the police force, it was a polymer material, it's black, had a handle, and then we used to fit it with a add-on rubber attachment so it wouldn't slip out of your hand when you were spinning it and whatever. And yeah,
I had a cop buddy show me all the ways he could hurt me with that stupid thing, and I was just like beside myself. Like it was amazing, like the joints you can hit, and like it just was like, okay,
Well,
I'm
it's not
never
even so
ever.
I'll tell you what, we used to do exercises and training, and they used me sitting in my car. Now I'm a big guy, right? I'm 6'2", whatever, and I'm a pretty big guy. And there was our trainer was probably 5'4", and he took that thing, slipped it in. I'm hanging on to my steering wheel. He slipped it in there, and with that handle, spun it around in a second. He had me out and on the hood of my car. And I remember with having to get some irate people out of an event at one of the stadiums that we were working. It was the same thing. The guy wouldn't walk. The guy was taller than me, I mean, wider than me. And I basically just took that thing and hooked it up underneath them and jacked them up a little bit and walked them right out. So, it's just, now, this is a nice Linux story, isn't it? Sorry, went off a little, the rails a little bit there.
It's security. It's physical security, right?
There you go. It's security related. There you go.
Well, cool. Awesome. That was a good discussion. I'm sure we can revisit security stuff in the future. But that might make a good application appetizer, actually. Maybe some password manager stuff again. No, we did that already. I don't know. We'll think about it.
You could throw encryption stuff in there too.
Oh, that's true. Does everyone here encrypt their drives? I'm curious about that.
I don't.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, I would if I had anything important to steal.
Laptops, because you're taking them places. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I do a vault, not the whole thing, just a vault. But I don't know if it's good or bad.
Of course, I don't keep anything that's sensitive on any drives anyway. So, what are you gonna get? A bunch of cool looking pictures? I mean,
some dank memes. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, exactly.
My filing cabinet's all digital, so I don't have like instead of, so I have all my bills and records and everything all digital. So it would be quite a get if you got me on that. I don't know what you'd do with that information though. Wouldn't really be important to you, I guess.
Guess I'm more of a physical media type person.
Yeah. I just put everything on
I
floppy
don't know.
again.
They could get my YouTube video history, and they might go down an entire rabbit hole of all kinds of stuff. From cars to Linux to electronics. We might never see them again.
Right? They'll just be like, oh wow, this is a good video. Oh, this is a good video. Oh. Well, there's the old adage, show me the man, I can find the crime, or something like that. I guess that's the concern with too much information out there. But anyway, so I had something kind of fun. So I was recently on Destination Linux again, but there was some this a couple weeks ago when I was on there. There's an event which I only heard about because of this device. So Lenovo Thinkbook. Lenovo has they unveiled this concept, this Thinkbook modular dual screen laptop. Now it was at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona that they had this, and they had a lot of different. It's kind of like CES, you could say, except actual consumer devices. And so I'll share a link with something that it's just a blathering from my site, but it was I feel like it's a good competitor, perhaps maybe, to the framework as far as modularity. I don't think it's quite as modular, but I think it does seem like it could be, a good competitor for this. So it makes me wonder, seeing, Framework and Valve, I guess, really are the two companies that are producing consumer electronics that are serviceable, that you can work on, repair, and so forth. And then there's some companies, I think there's what was the one, it's not Tuxedo, Star, I think. Star Computers? Who is it? Star
Computers make Linux laptops, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I think it's Star. Yeah, I think so.
Is it Star Labs? I think.
Star Labs.
Yeah.
They say they give you all the you can feel free to work on your machines, so they don't stop you from it. I don't know how serviceable they are. but it's still nonetheless, I think it's pretty cool that there's Starlight, which is a like a kind of like a Surface Book, except not a Surface Book. It's serviceable. So it seems like there are. So the point of that is modularity, repairability. It seems like it's not totally dead, but it's certainly maybe more niche right now. But seeing a big player like Lenovo get into some modularity aspects, the similar kind of expansion cards that that Framework has for the computer. Do you think this is going to be a trend forward? Maybe the only sustainable way to actually do electronics, consumer electronics in the future, or computers specifically, with like chip shortages and RAM prices and everything else? Or do you think this is just kind of a bump and it'll probably just fade into obscurity because it's too pro-consumer?
I'm surprised they just haven't done it before. When the Framework laptop came out, it was like, what on earth is this? It's brilliant. Why haven't they done this before?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. Like, why is this? Well, I think the old laptops, like we're talking about like late '90s, early 2000s, those had modules you could pop out, like the floppy and batteries are more modular, CD-ROMs and such. So those are, I think, more modular, but not to the extent of this is in the repairability. But yeah, no, I think you're right. It seems odd that it hasn't been something before. So I don't know. Does that mean anything to anybody with like a laptop, or is it just kind of more? I'm the cheese that is stuck on this one. Yep, look at that ThinkPad, of course.
You mean repairability?
Yeah. Do you think we're going to go down where consumer electronics can be more repairable in the future, or do you think we can get less repairable?
Oh yeah. Well, I think there's a balance, right? I mean, I think it depends on. It's okay that it requires a certain level of expertise. It's just not okay when they use strong adhesives or they basically make it out of plastic that's guaranteed, like clips that'll break.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think there's a middle ground that we could achieve where not everything needs to look like it's, like 3 inches thick and like big screws. And I mean, it still takes some amount of finesse and expertise to work on, but ultimately be something that someone who takes the time to acquire that knowledge and maybe certain tools that they could repair it. It's especially the people like Louis Rossmann and the people that like are trained to do it when they can't do it because either the parts aren't made available or the designs are so hostile towards repairability that, or that they, literally have been petitioning lawmakers and stuff like that, the companies. So I think if companies were just less aggressive about it, first of all, I don't think that a lot of people are really going to do the repairs anyway. Like Apple, and I don't think they need to worry. They're not going to lose much business, right, from the small shops and stuff like that. They just aren't. There aren't that many out there compared to, their own products and things. And people are just more likely to buy something new a lot of times if they break something. But yeah, I think that's where I land on it is as long as you don't make it nearly impossible to do and be like a jerk about it, then I think that's reasonable.
Well, but it's like I always saying, it's becoming a bit of a meme. We're all geeks here, so we love to fiddle with stuff like that, and we love to be able to take things apart and replace stuff and all the rest of it. Your average person in the street goes, "Oh, it's broken, throw it away. I'm going to go down to PC World and buy another £300 laptop." They're just not interested in repairing it. Washing machines are the same. Televisions are the same. Everything's the same now. It's a throwaway society, and it's only the very, very small minority that want to repair it themselves.
It's interesting you say that, Eric, because Apple, there was a video that came out today. I'm not going to mention the channel name because I get a kick out of them. They have a colorful sense of humor along with what they do. So I don't, but they actually bought a couple of the Apple Neos, the new ones, the budget ones, and he tore into them. And it was very interesting on how it was put together. He was very surprised. He said there were a lot of screws. Obviously, take the back cover off, but contrary to what Apple normally does, where they're real rigid covers, it was so flimsy. But the thing was that did surprise him was yes, there were things that were glued on by the battery, but there were 4 screws that it didn't matter because he took 4 screws and unplugged the cables, and the battery came right out. It was paper thin. He was able to basically take it apart relatively easy. Even the hinge, it had like a double hinge setup on there, and with no exception of a couple of parts where you mentioned the glue, it wasn't glue, but it was that very, very strong tape that when you tear it off, no matter what you do, you're going to damage it. But much to his surprise, it was very easily serviceable to get to the RAM, to get to everything. The keyboard, everything was just very easy to access. And that's very contrary to what Apple normally does. And this is their budget, $599, $699, depending on what drives you put in. So
I think, too, you can look at it in terms of, is the company maliciously doing this? Or is it that they're building something that is incredibly inexpensive? Like, one of the hardest laptops I ever had to work on and nearly didn't get it back together was an HP. And it was a really cheap, crappy one from like Walmart or something. And, and it was literally like a $300 laptop, which with Windows on it, there's not going to be a lot of room for like quality materials in it. So,
right.
The case itself was just garbage. And it had all of those little plastic tabs where if you weren't like precise about putting just the right amount of pressure, it broke. And I can't necessarily fault.
Was it
Makes you scream. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. What it was called?
They do
no,
that stuff.
scream.
They do that stuff with.
Oh, I
intent,
don't know.
man. They make it proprietary as possible on purpose. I guarantee it.
Well,
everything is planned obsolescence. They want it to break. They want you to throw it away and buy another one.
Yeah, but it's also not. It's not the cheaper stuff, Eric. Just specifically about those tabs. I mean, I've got my 49-inch Samsung in front of me, yeah, and on the back is a nice cover that you can hide up all the cables, yeah. I think within 4 weeks of using it, when I went to put it back on, one of the tabs snapped. And back then, when I first bought this was an £1,100 monitor. So, yeah, it's like 1,100 quid and the tab broke within, and trying to get repairs, trying to report that, oh, it was your fault, you put it on wrong. End of support.
Yeah, somebody that's done a lot of repair, I'll say HP is one of the most proprietary, no matter how expensive it is, too. It's always backwards on purpose. They do that on purpose. They don't want you working or repairing that. They're totally against the right to repair. No, yeah, they're
screws. Yep.
I have to say, there was one HP from one of my daughter's friends. Her laptop, she left a pen in there and smushed the screen or something. And I thought for sure that thing was going to be an absolute pain. And I don't know what the model was. It was just a little like pro. I think her mom gave it to her. It was like a business laptop. And it was literally 6 screws and the 2 cables to change the monitor. There was the front, like the bezel itself was just double-sided sticky tape. So that was easy to just work off. And then, yeah, the monitor usually the monitor's a really big pain in the ass because you got all the like internals around it. I had to pull the keyboard out of a lot of laptops to do that. But anyway, like for whatever reason, and I think it was probably a fluke if anything else, like that particular HP was the easiest to fix. But normally this is why I buy Dells. It's why I've always bought Dells, because they literally are like the easiest in my experience. I haven't had every laptop in the world, but usually they are the most consumer friendly, or let's say IT friendly. Like Zeb says, like nobody's doing this themselves from a end user standpoint. This is IT departments or somebody's cousin or some nephew or whatever. But like Dells have always been good for me because they're just repairable. Like I can take the whole motherboard out. I can take, the whole thing apart in pieces. No tabs breaking, no nothing. I can put it all back together. No adhesives, and it just. Now they've gotten more proprietary with like soldered on memory and stuff like that, which I don't love. But that's a cost savings nonsense, So.
I had a Alienware from Dell that it was literally the back cover was 2 captive screws. You unscrewed it, slid it just maybe a half an inch forward, and took it right off. Everything was right there to access. The funny thing is the $350 laptop that I've got sitting under here that I bought years ago that I use as my test machine, I've been in and out of that, and eventually the clips start to break when you're going in and out and whatever. And I've had the crazy glue a couple of things where the hinge was because it's plastic and that kind of thing. I almost think that sometimes the cheaper the device, the worse it is to service it or work on it. It's actually harder. It seems harder to get. But again,
Well,
like you just
that was
said,
my
your point.
premise.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
but
my premise with
you're
the
right. You're
HP.
right in the
Yeah.
sense, though, as things have evolved with the proprietary stuff with soldering RAM and what you can service once you get into it. Like even the Lenovo Yoga 7 that's sitting on the shelf that I bought for my wife. It's 9 screws to get into it, but there's only a few handful of things that, let's say, the average person who may be a little bit techie might want to do something with it. You're limited on what you can do. So it's. I guess it just depends on what you're buying too and how much they want to have you have a service plan or whatever. And the sad part about service plans, especially where it comes to desktops, when they tell you, oh, you could buy this added time, onto your warranty for $100 and something or $200, whatever they're charging. The fact is most of the parts in here when you're buying components, and I think most of us can attest to this that have built the computer, your power supply is going to have at the very least 3 years. I've got the one I have in here's got a 10-year warranty. Your motherboard's going to have a 2 or 3 year warranty, depending on how much you spent on it, maybe more. So my point is the implied warranties from the manufacturers are already there. So think about that when Dell is having something made for them proprietary wise, and they're charging extra for these warranties that are already in theory probably covered by the person who made them, the manufacturer that made them.
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and stop you right there. I have a warranty with my Alienware machine from Dell, and the warranty isn't just to replace like parts that fail. They send people out. Like
Right.
I had an issue with my 13th gen.
Oh yeah,
They sent a
yeah,
tech
they
to my
don't do that.
home to replace that. So I would say that's a little beyond what MSI or Asus is going to do for my motherboard.
You're right, but you do pay a premium for that. And the funny thing is how I wound up with the Alienware laptop is I actually had an Alienware desktop, and the guy they sent out actually broke the new desktop, so they worked a deal with me on a laptop, that was more expensive for me to buy it from them. I did pay a little bit different, but. So yes, you're right. But it's hit or miss on who you have come out. They're usually independents or something. But yes,
I think that's beyond the scope of the argument you were making. You're talking about warranties not being worth it, not the individuals.
no, I'm not saying you have to decide what warranty is. I mean, on a $350 laptop, no, it's not worth it. I don't know, something that's 1,100 or more, or yeah, maybe you would. But I'm talking about the parts themselves. I'm talking about parts only. I'm not talking about the people changing it. If we've done it ourselves, there's usually implied warranties already on the parts that are in these systems, is what the point I was getting at. So a lot of times they're charging for warranties that, especially if they're mail-in service, those parts are already covered. It's not costing them anything.
But the problem is, though, it's all of that is how inconvenient is it for you going to be to strip down your machine and send it back under warranty? Now, it's a silly example, but we've got a manufacturers in the UK, and I've used them for the last 3 times, and I've never had any problems with them. But my friend's i9, the ones that burn out and the thing can go all wrong, he had a problem with one of those, and he had to agree to send it back. Now, it wasn't simply a case of shipping it back. They forced him to buy a case from them that they would send out to him, or a box, so that he could pack it in that box. Otherwise, it wouldn't be covered from their warranty, even though he still had the original box and all of their packaging. And then the stupid thing was he sent it back to them, and then somebody else from the support sent him through a new NVMe card and said, yeah, go on, mate, just put that in your computer and reinstall Windows. It's got nothing to do with the i9 processor. And he had to physically ring them up and say, yeah, I'd love to put this in my PC, but you've got it, guys? So it really does depend. And I like Adam's answer of paying that little bit extra. Someone comes to your house and physically does it for you. That's why I don't build my own PCs anymore. I can't be bothered with all of that right, the memory came from such and such a company, and the RAM came, the motherboard came from him, and then the hard disk came from them. Then, and before you know it, you've shipped these parts off to all of the world, and 2 parts come back in a week, and another one doesn't come back for 4 months. It's just a nightmare out there. So unless you're
Right,
really,
but
really good at that stuff.
the point I was trying to make with all of that wasn't so much about the inconvenience and things like that. It was the cost factor, that they are making money on these warranties that are already there that don't cost anything. So
Of
even
course,
if
they
they
always
send
will.
somebody out and they replace the parts out, they send it back, they're going to warranty it. It hasn't cost them anything, and they've made that additional money on you. Now, granted,
Yeah.
there's a cost to send somebody out, but the other thing I want to make you aware of with warranties, because something happened to my son when he was in college back in the early mid 2000s. We bought him a laptop, and it would have this almost like it was getting electrified, the screen. It would get goofy, and it was a send it back. So we would send it back. I had something here he could use in the meantime. And after 3 times, they were supposed to replace it. The third time it did it, it came back within 2 weeks, and it wasn't fixed. So then they wanted to do it a 4th time, and I said, I'll give you one more chance at it, and that's it. I don't know why I agreed to it, but I did. And then the last time when it came back, it still wasn't fixed, and it did it right on the counter. This is at Best Buy, and the manager was there, and they wanted to send it back. And I said, enough's enough. I said, I've already given you an extra chance. So I said, unless you want a seat in here, I said, you're going to replace the laptop. Now, here's the thing. Here's the point I'm going to make with all of this. The warranty I bought at that time covered the amount of the purchases made. Okay. The laptop was at that time, I think, $1,400. They told me, go pick a laptop off the shelf. Well, the one that we got, of course, was better spec. It was newer, whatever. It was $800. And I said, what about the other 600 and something dollars? And they said, what do you mean? They said, no, our warranty doesn't read that way now. I said, I don't care about now. The warranty I bought reads this way. Do you know I forced them to get, at that point, to give me a 25-inch monitor at that time because I held them to the warranty that I purchased at the time? So that's another thing too. Warranties, just like terms of service, warranties can change. So when you buy a warranty, make sure you have paperwork, you know exactly what you're getting, because if the warranty changes and what you purchased is different than what they're offering now, make sure that it doesn't say in there in the fine print that, hey, you have to accept the warranty if it changes down the road. It's that kind of thing can happen, and that still does happen in certain things. So,
yeah, I would say that companies like Dell have been really, really top notch when it comes to their warranties.
Yep.
Like, so there are more reputable companies than others, and so I think if some use a company that actually believes in their product. Essentially, that's the direction I would go with that. So, one more thing that I want to get on to the next. We got housekeeping, and then Mike. I want to give his demonstration on his application. Is there anything else?
I was just going to do a quick blurb. One good thing in this situation is the insurance companies used to depreciate your computer parts, and nowadays they don't. They give you the current value would be of that computer and its stats and hardware and everything for today's value.
That's good to know. And I think they're holding their value a little bit more now too, since really the pace of technology really hasn't. I mean, how fast can you really type, right?
I don't want to respond to that.
I'm up between like.
Really must be. You won't read what I typed.
So is that?
My cat can type faster than me.
Oh.
And makes code and individual files and individual folders.
Well, that's some talent right there. All right, so
I used to have a laptop you'd lay on. Go ahead. I'm done.
All right, so real quick, I want to get into the housekeeping. Next week, we have next week is distro exploration. We haven't actually chosen a distro, so I don't know if there's anything out there that maybe maybe of interest. I should have done some research on that. What's new? What is new right now out there? Just go watch.
Well, I mean, everybody's talking Catchy OS. Everybody's talking Bazite. I mean, because they're trying to get people to flip over to Linux, so they're trying to find the quickest and easiest War Thunder type operating system out there. You know, got to do the Linux Mint, but MX Linux is right next to Linux Mint. I'll tell you that.
How dare you criticize my unhealthy obsession?
Oh, so you're actually admitting
I
it's
might
an
have a
unhealthy obsession.
suggestion.
What's that?
I might have an idea for you, Nate.
What's that?
I just actually am preparing to upload my latest snapshot if we wanted to, try that. Because we haven't done it for this year, I don't believe.
We have not. Is it
No.
ready though? That'd be my concern because
it should be perfectly fine, I would say. And plus the fact I'm only a one-man band, have the others justify it just yet. But I would say that in my testing, at least, it's pretty darn well good. So, yeah.
So put a pin in that. Some others that that have been pushed down to do was Nix, which I don't feel like I'm ready for that. Vanilla OS, but we need some testing parameters for that. Blend OS, that was by Colin. He recommended that one, but he's not here right now. There's some other. We did mini OS recently.
Nix is great.
Nix
Chimera is
is
starting to get a resurgence too, thanks to
Chimera?
LTT.
Yeah, but that whole LTT thing is just a clickbait nonsense. Sorry.
Oh, I know
it is, and he got me.
Well, I'm having more fun watching the response videos. Big Pod, who does No Tucks Allowed broadcast with Josh, and he did a video about basically reviewing what Linux was doing, Linus was doing, and everything. It was actually pretty good because his was a laid back version where he kicked back drinking a beer while he was reviewing it. Just relax.
Is that the Big Pod?
Yes.
That we know?
Big.
Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about him in years.
Yeah.
He's been doing a broadcast with Josh for quite a while now.
Who's Josh? I don't know who that is.
No tucks allowed, right?
Yeah, No Tucks Allowed. It's Tin Lee J.
Tin Lee
is,
J. Yeah. He's a
So
good friend of ours.
Who's Josh?
Tin Lee J.
That's Josh. Tin Lee J is Josh.
So they've
I
both
know
been
him as
on.
Josh because he
know
he
who
lives
he
40
is.
miles away from me. That's
Yeah, he
We've known him for a little while now.
Yeah, his house got rocked by a tornado a couple of years ago, I think. Yeah.
Literally got lifted 2 inches up in the air and over, and he ended up having to fix it himself.
Is my memory breaking me, or did I see Rebecca Black OS came out with a new distro?
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that one either.
What, Rebecca Black OS?
I thought they quit making
Is the one
that.
that's saying Friday.
I thought they quit making that.
Well,
She was a
thought they
meme,
had
like
done, but I could have swore that I saw a new. But then, hey, I thought Bitwald had been hacked, so yeah, ignore me, boys.
All right, let's Ben, we'll try out your Storm OS, and
Thank you, Nate. Appreciate you.
Why not? We'll just go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Okay. It says about 12 minutes to upload the latest snapshot. So it's done. I will drop the link in the chat for you guys.
All right. Cool.
Yes.
All right.
And yes, Nate, I did check it. KDE selection is in Calamari's for no problems at all.
We'll see how it goes. And I will be honest, but not brutally, because I don't do that. I'm not like that.
I appreciate your all's honesty every time we look. I really do.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So Rebecca Black OS. No fooling.
And I know you guys are always bluntly honest with me every time we talk about it, so nothing upholds whatsoever.
All right. So if you have any discussion suggestions or distribution suggestions, application appetizer ideas, or poll ideas, feel free to send me suggestions at linuxsaloon.com, or you can tag them, Eris or myself, in the Telegram or the Discord, and we can integrate that in. Also, I am now doing the show notes. Like afterwards, I compile the information, all the little links and such. I try and collect those throughout the show, and then it'll be available at keepinglight.com. So if you want to check that out, that'd be groovy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the community free pour. And for this one, we have Mike Chilson. We have you've been putting together an application that I'm actually very excited about. It's my I don't know how I put it. It's not my main note taking, but it's my note taking augmented application, Marklite. So the floor is yours, Mike. So take it away. Tell us a little background on why you started writing it or building it. What was the itch you had to scratch? And then, make sure you fill everyone in on how Jinda broke it numerous times. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen if y'all want to follow along.
All right.
And well, this started because, as some of you may or may not know, Markdown is becoming much more popular in a lot of different areas. For a long time, it was really mainly just used to make GitHub README files. But a lot of rich text editors that are included in programs now, they use Markdown instead of HTML. And if you're not familiar with Markdown, Eris, I'm going to show a link here, and I'll put it in the... there's a cheat sheet here that you can look at it if you want to learn it or want to learn how to use it. I started Marklite because I got tired of having to load a heavy editor every time I wanted to just view a Markdown document. I wanted to be able to associate my Markdown files to an application that also have a light editor in if I needed to edit it. So I was learning a new language, and fortunately, Jinda got the butt of that. But we went through and did a lot of I went through and did a lot of development, and he did a lot of testing, and we actually got a product out. And it's an open source product. You can actually download the source code and modify it yourself. It's written in Dart with the Flutter framework. And some of the benefits of it over other ones, as you can see here on the website, is it's simple and fast to use. It's a great default viewer. You can associate your MD files to it. It's open source. Constantly adding new install options. And it's just very easy to use. You don't even need any instructions on it. It's so easy. So let's just step through it real quick. This is the program when it comes up. As you can see, we got a toolbar, some features. We have a light and we have a dark mode. Also, any of these settings that you set are saved, and the next time you bring it up, it'll be in that mode. So let's test that. And let's open it back up. So now it's in dark mode, and the same thing goes with the resizing. If you like your viewer editor to be that large, now when you bring it up, it'll be that large. So those are saved automatically to a config file, and this is just kind of some example text that comes with it. But you can switch between view and edit mode just by clicking this button on the right. And now we're in edit mode, and we can actually do some things like, let's see, this is one. Oops. Little tip too. Most Markdown engines don't have this problem, but some do. It's best before you hit return on the end of line to add a space to the end of the line, because some markdown engines will not display it correctly unless you do that. So hopefully they'll get that fixed. But we can flip right back over to edit, to the view, and there's our changes. We have a bullet list. Of course, you can add, create new files. We'll save this one. Save it onto the desktop here. We'll just use it for document. Yeah. Okay, and let's open a new one so we can look at this. And this is just kind of an example markdown. Let's flip it back over to white so it's a little easier to see. It just shows all the different things you can do with Markdown. Pretty much anything you can do with HTML with the exception of colors, you can do with Markdown. A lot of Markdown engines will allow you to mix HTML and Markdown together. So if we go look at the edit, you can see a lot of the tags here, all the H1, all the H tags, like for horizontal rules. It's pretty easy to learn, but Marklite just makes it easy to be able to view and edit things quickly. Currently, well, first of all, do you have any questions at this point? Want to move on?
It seems pretty clear to me at this point. I do like the line numbers that you have on there, and you don't have, and also I like the fact that your toolbar isn't littered with a bunch of options. I mean, right. It's a Markdown editor, so you can choose the Markdown stuff. I know some. So, to me, it's not like quite as, maybe let's just say beginner friendly, I suppose you could say. But it's because you have that cut sheet in there, it makes it very easy to, it's just Markdown, so it's not that.
Right.
It's not difficult.
And that's kind of what
different.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to get through is I want it to be just a lightweight viewer / editor, so it loads fast. That's the main thing. But so Robin had a question: does spell check work? No, there's no spell check in this. I probably will not put that in there just simply because I want to try. I wring my hands over every feature that I want to add because my goal here is to keep it lightweight and fast. We're already up to about 2,500 lines of code in it, so I want to try and keep it as small as possible. The beauty of Dart and Flutter, if you're not familiar with them, obviously Flutter's the framework that I'm using, but they compile to a C executable. So the compiled program is actually a C compiled program, and so it's pretty fast. But it has some other features like cut, copy, and paste. Obviously they activate when you use that. We've got a find and replace, or just a find, whichever you want. Let's close that. What else? We've got go to line number, if you want to head to a line number. Also, we keep some stats down on the status line on the bottom bar here. And let's see one feature Nate asked for, which was kind of interesting. So let's see, I have this open right now. Let me open this with another editor. If I open that same file and change something, this pops up. So Nate actually asked for that specifically. So
I did.
I added that for him, but we'll just reload it.
And to explain why, I know this may sound strange, but so I have my collection of notes that I use. Obsidian is my primary note taking because I like to have everything linked together. but very often, and I will edit the same like repo of files with another editor, or sometimes just even in the terminal. And I like having that flexibility. And so something Obsidian does is it automatically reloads, and it doesn't mean I necessarily need it to automatically reload all the time. But the nice thing now is Marklite will see that there is a file change, and then you can load that in. You have the option to load it in. And so to me, that's nice on multiple levels, because I can actually I can edit something, maybe just to look at it. I know you're probably thinking like, well, why do you need to edit your notes like this? Well, because I'm a weirdo. But you may want to edit something or see how an edit looks before I either commit it or whatnot. So Marklite allows me that flexibility to make an edit without committing it, or and also when I save it, then automatically Obsidian will show up. But so it's just another flexible way of me being able to look at notes and edit. Or if I just want to load up my just load up a single note for whatever reason, instead of loading up Obsidian, which is a little bit heavier, I can just load up that one note, and if I edit on my phone or whatever, and because it's all synced together, then it'll show up on Marklite as well. So it makes it easier for me to move things around and not lose data quite as easily. So it's just nice to have that feature. So I really appreciate that. I don't know how much. I'm curious to know how many lines of code did that add? Like, how big of a pain was that?
It added probably about 80 lines of code. It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
So I figured out a way to do it where it wouldn't slow things down and stuff. Any questions so far? Okay. Let's see here. Also, currently it's available as a Debian or RPM package and a snap. I'll eventually do a flat pack, I promise, but honestly, it's probably going to be the very last thing I do, because it is so difficult to create a flat pack. They do not make it simple, for sure. I'm coming out with a Windows version probably in another week. So if you need that on Windows, that'll be available. And the thing to remember about this is it's not meant to replace a full-blown Markdown editor. It's just supposed to be a lightweight viewer and a lightweight editor. I mean, I was having to wait 2 or 3 seconds for a Markdown editor to load, because of all the crap it loads with it, with all the features. So that's why I'm really stringent about trying to keep it lean and mean. But,
makes total sense.
Yeah. But anyway, and I created this, I said, because I just got frustrated with that. That was my whole reason for creating it. But anyway, that's Marklite. And if you'd like to download it, I'm sure they posted the link to the website. And you can go and download the Debian or RPM or Snap and give it a shot. Also, let's see, there's one other thing I was going to say about it. Oh, yeah. So if you decide you want to play around with the code, it's all available on GitLab, and you can basically download the code and go at it. I'm not accepting any pushes, because again, I want to control how fast and lean and mean the thing is. So if you want to add a feature yourself, you can download it and add your feature and have at it. So, all right, I guess that's it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. You can get me here on Discord or email me from the website. I'll be happy to try and answer your question.
That's awesome. I just downloaded it, installed it. I'm looking for a Markdown file to test with it. All my Markdown's usually in a note app. Right. I don't have a lot of loose files.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got one simple question, and I realise my mic was muted, and I'm not being facetious here.
Sure.
What is Markdown?
Okay, Markdown is a symbolic language like HTML is. that allows you to modify text and it's presented in a certain format. So like if you wanted to make the text really large, you would do like a pound sign and then whatever text you want.
Right.
And that would make the text really large.
So it's a quick and easy method of formatting, indexing, as you say, making larger text, putting things in a certain order so that it can be easily read through. Right, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot simpler than HTML, you know. It's kind of designed to be quick and easy. And I just posted in the chat, if I don't know if I'm posted in the YouTube chat, but a cheat sheet that will show you all those commands. But this is becoming more popular, so you're going to start seeing this in a lot of rich text editors on the web.
And being as it's as fast as you say it is, can it be used as a simple notebook?
Yes.
Sure. Absolutely.
Cool. We'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was able to handle. So I export my notes out of Notesnook into a directory in my Nextcloud. That way I can export into Markdown and still keep everything. That way, if I ever needed to move to something else, everything's pretty portable. And I had it open up some of my fairly complicated notes, because for my YouTube channel, I'll create notes for different things and then I'll link all kinds of stuff in it. And it didn't have any issues at all pulling that up. It was very snappy. Yeah, the deb file was very fast to install. I like it.
Sorry, what is the keyboard shortcut for toggling edit and view?
I think it's Control E, I believe. I think.
That's Control E and then Control. Yeah, Control E got me into edit.
Yeah, it's Control E takes you back to. It'll take you back to view.
That didn't. Oh yeah, there it goes. It didn't at first, but now it did. Cool. Okay. Yeah. You may want to, if at all possible, since every other icon has the keyboard shortcut under a hover or under the tooltip, if you could do the same thing on the edit button, that would probably save you some questions.
Sure.
Just a little initial feedback. Yeah. But yeah, I love that it's fast because I mean, I'm not joking. I probably have 7 Markdown editors installed.
I know.
I use them all, and well, most of them. MarkText was probably the one that I used the most, simply because it was all like inline, and you could toggle to source mode and back. And I prefer the ones that are like single stream. I don't really love side by side because then it just takes up too much room. Yeah. But they stopped developing MarkText, and so there's like apostrophe and some other ones I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah, I use like Joplin, and Joplin has MarkText or Markdown, and then Obsidian has Markdown. Like pretty much everything that's I would say developer focused is using Markdown. So, and once you learn how to use it, like it's just like you said, way easier than wrapping something in HTML or something like that. Yeah. So,
yeah, it is.
It's not perfect. There's definitely some dumb things that I hate that it does. Like if you try to, it doesn't interpret things well sometimes. Like if you try to like nest apostrophes or asterisks or something like that, and it just kind of thinks, oh wait, this is part of the formatting instead of an actual character. And even if you try to escape it, like anyway, so it's not perfect. There are times where it kind of drives me crazy, but for very simple, straightforward things, it's wonderful.
Yeah. If you click on the download button, or like the Debian or the RPM on the website, and it takes you to the repository, if you scroll down and read the README, you can see all the keyboard shortcuts there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, they're in the README file. I need to put those on the about. I'm thinking about putting them on the about dialog when you click on that, so just so people have them without having to go looking for them. But they're pretty much the same as everyone else for the most part,
Well, I mean that's why having all of them just under the tooltip is awesome. Like that's makes it super easy and evident, like self-evident versus like, and I thought that, I'll just hover over the edit button, and then whenever it didn't show up, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So yeah.
Yeah, I added that release before last. I guess I forgot to add the shortcut to it. But I'll add that.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I
Hey,
see
you
it.
know,
Yeah, down on the README. Okay. Cool.
yeah,
The
so they're all.
the other neat thing about Markdown is if you use WordPress, you can if you start typing a paragraph whatever with the Markdown language. So if I go like pound space and then type my heading, it automatically makes it the heading too. So if I create something in Markdown, I can just copy that entire document, paste it into WordPress, and bada bing, bada boom, it's all done.
Cool.
Like all the.
Oh, and it's so much better than try pasting in like doc, like a Word doc into. It's a
miserable.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Markdown's great because I did a lot of things just building it in text files before, and then I would just copy and paste that in, and then Markdown basically made my life so much simpler because I can build everything locally before I push it up, and then it's good to go. So anyway, yeah, no, I think Markdown's great. I think Marklite is a real great little app for taking notes, and really, do you have a Windows version of it too?
It's coming in about a week. Yes.
Okay, because there was someone at work that needed a good, just a simple editor, and
yeah,
and I want to start recommending that too, just because I think it'd be a nice, little nicer than Notepad. I think,
Yeah. Yeah. One interesting thing about it, which I'm really proud of, and it has all to do with the Linux Saloon crowd, is I was looking at my analytics for the downloads of the RPMs and the debs and the snaps, and to date across all the versions, there's been a little over 1,000 downloads.
Wow!
So,
congrats, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I started this. I think when did I start this? Back in November, I think. November.
For what it's worth, I know it's going to be that the learning, getting over the hump of learning how to do it. But I think if you get it published on FlatHub,
yeah,
you're gonna see a huge.
Well, I mean,
spike.
I've gone through the documentation. I've watched like three different videos, and dude, it is a freaking nightmare. I mean, it really is.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, after you build it in your regular repository, you got to create a new repository and move the files over to that, and then add all the dependencies, and you have to use their dependencies. So
yeah,
that's totally different from like the Snap, which just uses the OS dependencies, right?
Right.
So it's just a different beast. But yeah, I'll eventually get it there. It'll happen at some point. But
and then you'll have everybody coming to you for like, oh, add this, and you have to say, no, that's not the point. That's why it says light.
But yeah, it's.
I'm starting my own, and all the blog posts are written in Markdown, and then Hugo, the website builder, converts all of that to HTML when the site gets built.
Right.
So Markdown's massive now.
It is.
This means I can even write it on my phone and then send it to my server to get compiled.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, if you look at any website that you enter text on, like Facebook, X, whatever, Instagram, and you look at the source code after you entered some text into the text box, it's all in Markdown. They all use Markdown. I mean, just about every editor, rich text editor today uses Markdown instead of HTML. So.
Yep. And you're right. Being able to do it on your phone is a huge benefit because there's no special characters. It's just stuff that's on the normal keyboard.
Right. You don't need a whole environment to match tags.
Yeah,
do all
or
that.
just the huge like toolbar to enter formatting and stuff like that, which is always a pain.
Right. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to give it a shot, excuse me, my allergies are acting up. If you guys want to give it a shot, I'd appreciate it. Any constructive feedback, I also appreciate. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt because I want it to be the best that it can be. So.
Well, I figured because you DX'd your feelings a long time ago.
That's right. The Army ripped them out of me.
You had to turn them in when you got your uniform.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. I know you have two other applications. One other application. You have another one you're working on too. And there's two other applications. So
yeah, I've got a third one of them.
Yeah. So I know Resize All, which we've talked about before, but we haven't actually had a demonstration on that one either. So I think if at some point in time when you feel ready to, I'd love to feature that on a community free pour as well. And then also, this is what
I'm just going to say also, guys, if you have an idea for an app that's kind of a special case out there that's not overly complex, just let me know. There may be a market out there for people, to use it in open source. So I'm always open to ideas.
Well, Mike, let's have a chat this week. I do have an application that I've started and then stopped and then restarted and then stopped and then I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So, anyway, so we'll chat. But also, this is like anyone else who has an application or some sort of project they're working on, they want to show it on Linux Saloon. I'd love to make you part of the community free pour. I obviously didn't time things well, but I would love to have, I love these projects. Like when people work on these things, this excites me. This is one of the reasons I love doing this, is to be able to see what people create, because that's the fun part about computers. So, or tech in general, I should say. Maybe Arch Ping is working on a really neat widget there to keep himself safe in the California land. I don't know. Maybe. So anyway, all right. So it is time for last call. So we're gonna go ahead and hop to that. Eric, you got anything going on? You're at the top of my list every time.
I've done something I used to do almost daily. It felt like it that I haven't done for almost 2 years. I
recompiling your
got rid of Pop OS. No, I got rid of Pop OS off of my laptop and reinstalled Mint. Yeah, it's been a while. I run it on my desktop. I haven't run it on my laptop in a while, and I just was starting to get sick of some things in GNOME, which I still love. I'm still a big fan of, but just wanted to go back like old school and do some Mint for a while. But that's about it.
No shame in that whatsoever. I'm not what I would call I'm not a Mint user, but actually my son was just running it on his gaming PC, but now he wants Plasma, so he just put Bazet on there, but then he had some problems with it. I don't know. I just let him do his thing. I tell him, look, I can help you with Tumbleweed. After that, I'm pretty much useless. So
Cinnamon has just a lot of creature comforts for me. That it just it's like one of those things where you just sort of align, like you feel with Plasma, like there's just sort of an alignment there.
Yeah, I get it. Like an old comfortable glove. There's something about
that's
like
it, man.
As long as it doesn't have the holes in it, when you're doing barbed wire or something like that, and it's Dale, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything this week. We worked 70 hours this week, and I'm just and trying to keep Sweetie happy, so I didn't get around to it too much.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when IRL takes precedent, I get it.
Yeah.
And glad to have you here, and I wish you all the best with things.
Thank you.
HipDad, did I read that you in the chat that you only been using Linux for 2 years?
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. I was watching the wrong screen. I was watching the YouTube screen, looking for my activation. Okay. What were you saying?
Was it? Did I read in the YouTube chat that you've only been using Linux for a couple years now?
Oh no, I've been using it since '93.
Oh, then I must
I
have misheard
mean,
then.
not steady. No, well, the Linux cast, Matt Weber,
dude.
he has had challenges for the last 3 years, and that's how I got brought into Arch. He had a 6 months challenge, and I'd never used Arch, and I was kind of getting disenchanted with it because of the Arch, by the way. And so I had a friend from overseas in Austria. He said, "You really should try Arch." And so I installed Arco Linux at the time, and it was really easy, and it had a lot of little neat things and everything. And so that was my 6 month challenge, and I did that, and I stuck with it. But then all of a sudden, Arco became bloated. I mean, major bloated. All these apps that you really didn't need, and it just so it borked on me and Arch Penguin one night. Just things we were messing with and trying and everything. I forget exactly what borked it, but so I went to vanilla Arch with Arch Penguin's tutelage. He is the sensei that I use at this time.
Thanks,
And
man.
Stefan from over in Australia, he's the one that steered me toward Arch. I've been using Arch now for 3 years, I think, consistently. I used to use Ubuntu back in the day. I used it for about 10 years, but that was because I could play World of Warcraft using crossover through Code Weavers, and then all of a sudden Ubuntu stopped playing nice with Code Weavers, and so World of Warcraft wouldn't work. So I had to go to Micro Center and get a current version of Windows 7, and it made me physically ill. And I've been on Ubuntu for 10 years and off and on. But the thing that changed between Arch and Ubuntu, if you want to know the difference, here's the difference. Ubuntu, you bork it, you clean install it. You grab all your dot files and your pictures and all that, and you just wipe it. You get a distribution upgrade. Don't upgrade it, wipe it. Okay, that was the theme with Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. I tended to like Ubuntu Studio, but I went to Arch, and now whatever I break, I can fix. Now, a lot of times I have to cry to Arch Penguin and say, "Hey, man, help me with this. I forget the command line." Dude, I've told it to you so many times. It's this, SYU, and this, and this, minus, and yeah, you need to do this. Dude, you should learn that by now.
I'm just playing though.
Yeah, but so that's why I stole Eric Dubois' aliases, and I use those. So I just do update and
That's
password
what's
and
so
go.
cool. You did you, man. You made it yours. You like that from that, and you brought it to your Arch. It's the hot rod you could build. And by the
Yeah,
way,
and
I'm not a huge fan of the by the way thing either. Just so everybody knows.
yeah.
But that's the fun joke, though. I mean,
By the
way,
I don't use Arch at this point.
Yeah.
See, that's
you
the
can.
fun part.
My point being, and closing off of another old tangent rant, I fix it now. I don't have to clean install. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't done clean installs. I've tried some other different iterations of Arch, but Arch is my little boring home now. I mean, I sit here and get bored, and it's like, man, I'm bored. Everything works. What am I going to do? Now, last thing. I will say KDE Wayland on Vanilla Arch. Way to go. You're going to be gaming, having fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Until you need network transparency. Just kidding.
That's what the command line's for, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well, thank you very much for
Back
being
to
here.
Planet, man. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, Jinda, last word. Not last word.
Yeah, last word. I don't know. I got nothing. What do you got?
Bedtime. That's what I got.
Oh, okay. Bedtime? All right, sure.
Yeah.
Is that Linux Dev Labs? Is that Shaston? You're in the dark.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's a little dark in my room.
Yeah, it's all good.
I usually have the light from my other camera on, but didn't want to work, so sorry about
That's all right.
that.
No worries.
Yeah.
You're just being you just kind of remind me like Lex Luthor a little bit, just kind of in the dark.
And you might
Just
really
my
loud,
brother.
mate. It's blowing,
Yeah.
it's blowing, yeah.
Well, anyway, I got some interesting things. Everybody's talking about the age verification. I'm going to tell everybody, call your senators and your legislators. I actually called Lisa Murkowski 3 days ago, and she actually heard me out.
Oh,
I don't know what will happen of it, but she heard me out of why it's a bad idea. But it's actually more dangerous than people think because the Heritage Foundation is pushing this along with other people.
1 second. Your mic is a bit high.
Is it? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a bit.
You're good.
Well, I gotta say
Um,
something real quick. He sounds like a subdued Jesse Ventura.
Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay, so just call your senators over this. This is a really bad idea, and there's a lot of really big money behind it. So the more people we can get to basically the more people we can get to call their senators, I think it's a much is better chance that this just goes away. So I called Lisa Murkowski about 3 days ago, and like I said, she heard me out. I've known Lisa for 35 years, so it wasn't too hard for me to get a hold of her. But maybe other people may not be so lucky. But just throw something against the wall, see what happens. Doesn't hurt. Takes about 10 minutes or maybe an hour of your time, but also, I have a couple of developers I've joined with. We kind of have a contingency plan because I don't think this is enforceable. Not at least as far as Linux and BSD is concerned. So anyway,
yeah, excellent.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, thanks for showing up. I want to try and get through these quickly because we're way past.
Okay,
Thank you very much. So, Robin Exish. Is that how I'm supposed to say it? The mighty Foz.
Just Robin.
Robin. Okay, we'll just say Robin then. Robin, thanks for being here.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, any exciting projects going on for you?
Just making my own website. I'm trying to self-host it, learn to do that.
The Hugo with Hugo.
Yeah, the Hugo one. It's really fun coding your own website, and you have to alter it and you have to code it by hand, and it's such a nice change.
Kind of like the Geocity, the years of Geocity, whatever, back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? GeoCities.
Yeah, that's right. GeoCities.
Yeah.
There's now NeoCities. So
yeah. I've heard that, and it's a part of a alternate way to browse the web or something like that.
Yeah, the old school web rings.
Yeah,
everybody's bringing them back. You got all the old school stuff where you can edit your own HTML and what was that? Is it Haystack? Is that what that's called, or is it Hayface or something like that? I don't remember the name of it, but it's like a MySpace clone that's out there too.
That's cool.
I don't know. I just wanted a website, and I knew 20 years ago I coded my own. So that's what I knew. So that's the sort of technology I wanted, and it still exists with that Hugo.
Yeah, it's neat. I agree. That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for being
I
here.
do love Hugo.
Yeah, retro internet is neat, isn't it?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
yeah, static websites have come a long way, long way with JavaScript and little plugins that act through your browser. It's really, it gets quite complicated.
It's true. Well, thanks for being here. Really do appreciate it. I hope you come back again.
Oh, thank you. I will.
Joe, glad you
Yes,
made
sir.
it back again.
I was threatened by Zeb today that I better be here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if Ray's gonna hit you with that Louis Slugger for saying that now.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be a long reach though.
He's got big arms.
No, thanks for having me again. I kind of wore out my chat time, so I'll
no,
just
you're
keep
fine.
that short.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, War Thunder. Thanks for being here, man. Or maybe I should say
this is always a fun time.
like Zeb says. Thanks for being here, mate. Although I think if I say it doesn't sound right, I probably don't have the quite the.
Yep, not quite it.
No.
Not a lot going on with me this week. I've kind of been just too busy at work, and they're trying to move me between two offices that are an hour away from each other and kind of stuff. Although I did have a productive saloon because this is my new server that I picked up today that I assembled at least
nice.
this far for Micro Center. So my wife said we have some tax money we can spend, and she said you're allowed to spend it, and so I spent it. So I'm going from a 6th Gen i5 server to a Core Ultra 200 series. It's a 265K, I think. Should be pretty nice. Kind of excited to get it put together.
That's fun. How much? So you said you spent some tax money on it. Your wife said you could spend tax money on it. Then that was. Did you have to like do some extra chores to get that money freed up, or
No, it's just our tax return. Well, I guess technically yes, because we were supposed to do yard work today, but the clouds stayed over, and so it was like in the 30s, like all day here, or 30s, 40s. Indiana's great like that. So tomorrow we get to do that because it'll actually be warm enough to go out and trim trees. But I don't mind it. I've been kept up in the chair all week. I twisted my ankle on like Monday, Tuesday. And so I've been on a cane most of the week, and like, so today was the first day I actually kind of got to move a little bit instead of just being in the chair or limping around. So,
wow.
And you're going up a ladder tomorrow to do the trees?
No, shouldn't have to too much. I have a pole saw if we have to get too tall, but mostly just clean up some stuff. I know once I heal my foot, I'll have to get up in the gutters because I know our gutters are all plugged up from the winter, but nothing too crazy.
Well, neat. Well, thanks so much for being here, and I hope that you can give us updates on how this build goes for you, because I get I know I like seeing when people build things. I get all excited about that. I'm a simple man.
Yeah, I have one oversight that you'll probably hear about. I just realized that I have 4 mechanical hard drives, and this has 4 SATA ports, and that sounds great. I had a SATA SSD as a cache drive. I only have 4 SATA ports, and I have 5 devices that need SATA, so that was a little oversight, but we'll figure it out.
I think that's pretty cool. Awesome. Zeb, thanks again for being here. I know it's real late for you. We're well past your bedtime. We're past my bedtime, so I don't know how it's going to be for you.
Well, it's only 2:35, whereas it's normally 3:35, so I'm fine at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't been doing anything this week, but my good friend Nabist has. Now, Nabist was the guy who originally helped me with my Caravan Conkers.
Mm-hmm.
And bless his cotton socks, he's gone back in. The last time he did it for me, ETS was at 138. It's now at 158. And he sent me the files that I need to put back in. So I did a stream Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And there are hundreds of caravans on it now. So we are merrily mashing proper caravans all over the place, thanks to my good friend Nabist. So I'm very, very happy. So tune in next Saturday for more mayhem on the roads of Europe as I muller into these poor caravans at 140 mile an hour plus. And I don't fall over as much now because he's also re-taught me how to stabilize the truck. So happy days.
Does he have his channel still that he used to have?
He may have, but he doesn't do as much. And the only reason he started looking at it again was I wrote him an email. I said, "Oi, help." And the amazing thing is, I think he's about 10 years older than me, and how he remembers all this stuff, I have no idea.
Some people
God
just built
bless him.
different. It's awesome. Well, thanks again for being here.
You're very welcome. I love it here. It's great stuff.
Fantastic. Arch Penguin.
Oh yes, my latest endeavor has been trying to cobble together a bunch of different Dell parts I have laying around for a friend. I'm setting up a retro MAME arcade for it.
Oh, nice.
So that he has a projector he wants to use for it, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. Is it gonna be like a full-size arcade, or is it like a sit-down, or what?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like the pillar style. I don't know if you've seen those because I don't know if you've seen the how you use a projector to play like MAME games and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it'll be more like a pedestal, right?
Like the stand-up ones.
Right. You walk up to it. And then behind it's the pull-down screen.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, great. I mean, if you ever want to share
You have to have
stuff on
the
that,
short throw, right? The short throw with the high angle, otherwise your shadow will be in the way.
I was gonna say if you want to share like things about this in the future, I'd love to see more.
Cool.
The Goofball, thank you very much for being here. It's your first time. You kind of sent us on an hour meandering of Linux security. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody.
I appreciate it. And last but not least, Mike, thanks for the demonstration. I appreciate you doing all the work you do.
Yeah,
no
got a new app.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I've been haven't been doing much side development this weekend so far. I've been got a door frame on the front of the house that whenever they installed it, I don't think they primed it because every time I paint it, it peels in about a year or two. So I stripped that mother down to the bare wood today and put primer on it, and so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I was working on my electric fence today. I didn't shock myself this time, so I'm really happy about that. So I get it. All right.
Awesome.
I have I have a podcast called Linux Out Loud. If you want to check that out, I'll get a link for that in the show notes. Also, I joined the Destination Linux crew again this week. I think my camera's fine on Discord, but it's not fine connecting to whatever it is over there. I look like I got Vaseline on the screen. So or take it with a flip phone from 2006. Either way, you can check that out. Listen to it. Don't watch me. So anyway, you can check those out. Also, yeah, thank you for your support. I do really appreciate all the support I get from everybody. Whether it's financial or just being a part of this. So thank you very much. Also, everyone being a part of the YouTube stream. Also, I think Georgian Black. Feel free to join the Discord or Telegram group. There's a lot smarter people than me on there that can help you with any of your questions. I'm just more of a facilitator. You can call it that. So also, I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yous.